on something. You should get something going.
Hey there, everyone. This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. And
Alrighty, how you doing, folks? I've been talking for about, I don't know, 15 minutes and just realized my soundboard was shut off. Anyway, let's explain some stuff. Alright, so everybody gets all really excited about or upset about advertisements on channels. And although those advertisements do not come, they don't come from all of us. Some people don't do advertisements at all because they have their own sponsors, etc. But the advertisements that are put into this through AdSense are kind of what keeps us going. Now, it's not particularly my case because I have 2 talk radio stations running 24/7, and this YouTube isn't costing me much of anything. Oh God, oh Lordy, what the hell just happened? Anyway, so we all get pissed off because you see an ad or you see this or you see that. Well, it's like when I monetize something, it might have a banner ad at the bottom or the top or something like that.
What is happening inside?
Let me go find one. I'll find one real fast. Here you go. It's like this right here. You see this at the bottom of the video. Now, the person in alternative media, they don't have major sponsors to pay for their time, etc., etc., etc. So, this is how they're paying for their time. Here's another one. KSB Archive. There you go. We all spend our time doing all this kind of stuff. And when you X that out or don't even look at it, well then, none of us get paid even a little bit for our time. And believe me, it's not much money. That banner right there made him 3 cents. That banner right there, 3 pennies. 3 pennies in his pocket. All right?
Hi everybody, it's you-know-who.
Alright, now, for an example, Stefan Malinu, or however the hell you want to spell it, he has a bunch of sponsors. So and YouTube says, do you have any placed sponsors or whatever, and you have to say yes or no, and so he has no ads.
And
now we'll jump to there. Oh, well, see, there we go. Another one right there, prepare for collapse. And they generate these ads according to your interest. There's nothing wrong. Advertising sucks and it's annoying and I hate it, but do realize that we're all out here busting our ass. And when you skip over this stuff, let it run for a few seconds and then, cut it out. But, the video ads are what makes us a couple of bucks. Because if a video ad is ran out completely to somebody that tunes in, that's 18 cents to 32 cents. Depending on the bid of the advertiser, and being a political season, they're bidding pretty high right now. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you right now. Skipping over the ads, I understand that sometimes the ads get in the way. They annoy me too. But it's kind of how we pay for all this. And every penny counts. Every single penny counts. And that's why that's why I monetize everything I do. And I don't over monetize it. There are, let's see. Earlier today, I ran a a Donald Trump campaign, and there was literally an ad every 2 minutes. I don't do that. And when I'm doing the live stream, I seldom click run ad. I think I've clicked it once or twice since January. So, you just gotta look at this in 500 different ways. I don't know. But when you skip the ads and all that kind of stuff, you're just depriving us, alternative media people, of something to pay for our time. See what I'm trying to say? So anyway, all right. Thanks so much. I'm gonna get out of here, folks. I hope you understood all of that. You didn't.
What is happening inside of?
If you didn't, I don't know. So I'll run this last video and get this over with.
Syria, a war-torn nation that the United States and Russia have faced off in a proxy war. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest breaking developing news and its geopolitical effects. As we are speaking, there are rumors that the United States and Russia have reached an understanding that Syrian President Bashar al-Assad will leave the country and step down a part of the future peace process, according to Lebanese Al-Harat's newspaper. The British are also reporting with their diplomatic unnamed sources that this is true. But according to the Russians and according to Bashar al-Assad himself, this is not true in any way, shape, or form and is completely false. As we are speaking, the Syrian government has just had a major victory inside of Palmyra, and Assad is defiant. He did this with the help of Russians, and now he is open to elections inside of Syria to try to galvanize and to try to bring together Syria as one country, as one government with the rebels by having an elections. He is also publicly stating right now that Turkey is fighting inside of Syria, making the situation more complex than before. He is making statements saying that Turkey is violating its international borders, bombing the Kurds, which they have been, which are allied with the United States, which has been a huge quagmire since the U.S. is allied with the Kurds, but the Turkey, who is a part of NATO along with the United States, is destroying and bombing the Kurds. He is saying Turkey is fighting inside of Syria and that Syria is ready for total war with Turkey inside of Syria, which is an extremely complex situation unfolding right in front of us. The British are responding to Assad's offer of an election to try to unify Syria, to try to end the civil war with the rebels by scoffing at it and, of course, dismissing Assad's offer. The United States is answering back, saying that no government will ever be recognized that has Bashar al-Assad in power. As we know, the U.S. foreign policy main goal for a number of years now was to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, and that's why they have been supporting so many rebels, including ISIS. Now, Russia is responding back by maintaining most of its military aircraft and equipment inside of Syria. 2 weeks ago, Putin has made a statement that he is withdrawing troops, that he is ending military operations inside of Syria. He will wind down and end Russia's involvement inside of Syria, but as we are speaking, Russian attack helicopters and mercenaries are winning the war for Assad. They are taking advantage of the ceasefire and doubling down inside of Syria, helping the Syrian government get back the main city of Palmyra. It is not a drawdown in any way, shape, or form, as much as it is as a strategic geopolitical move by the Russians, who are now upgrading their Black Sea fleet,
Europe had
expanding
military
their
and
strategic
political
capabilities,
problems of the
deploying mobile ballistic missile systems inside of the Crimea Peninsula right next to Ukraine, and has allowed what the United States Air Force General Philip Breedlove has termed as a Russian anti-access aerial denial strategy for the Black Sea. Russia is also moving into the Mediterranean. The Kremlin has recently signed an agreement with Cyprus allowing its ships to have access to Cyprus ports. It has begun building and upgrading 4 separate naval and air bases on the Mediterranean coast as part of its entry into the Syrian conflicts. Russia is not backing down in any way, shape, or form inside of Syria because of these failed peace talks, and it has actually been spotted that they have sent a nuclear ballistic missile inside of Syria, according to people on the ground. The Russians are not backing down, mainly because the United States is not backing down, because they are building up their troops inside of Europe all along the Russian border. The Russians are vowing to step up their military strategic moves, just like the United States is against Russia. As we know, Russia has been facing off with the United States not only geopolitically with its military moves, but also economically by aligning itself with China. They have just increased their oil exports, and economically, politically, and militarily, they are joining together to form a stronger alliance against the petrodollar. The United States, with NATO, is obviously engaging with Russia by placing sanctions on Russia and increasing their oil production, making oil go down, which makes Vladimir Putin aware of this situation, and that's why he's going to China. And NATO members are extremely hesitant and are extremely facing off against Vladimir Putin. The United States strategy inside of Syria was always to arm the rebel groups, and they have sent a lot of arms, a lot of weapons, a lot of money, a lot of important resources to the rebels, to the very fact where right now we have CIA armed rebels fighting Pentagon-backed rebels inside of Syria. Their main strategy was to overthrow Bashar al-Assad, finance the rebels. A lot of that money has gone into the hands of ISIS, and that's why Russia responded by backing up Syria and its major ally Bashar al-Assad by launching a military invasion in September of last year. And now the United States, with Russia's military strategic points, is reacting by saying that they're going to decide on increasing more troops right next to Syria inside of Iraq. This quagmire that has been unfolding is only coming to a head, again expanding the proxy war, again expanding the military movements, expanding the sable rattling, with the United States and Russia re-engaging again inside of Syria, restarting their proxy war. We're going to keep a close eye on this situation and cover all the latest developments on this YouTube channel. So subscribe. If you want to support us financially, go to wearechange.org/store. All the profits go to running this independent and free media organization.
Rooted concerns. Additional information for the commenter to consider.
People of America, your government's lying to you around the world, and greatness in history. But he wrote a book entitled How to Kill 11 Million People, which is a very ominous title coming from such an author. But essentially what the book is about, it's about a 15-20 minute read about how the people of Germany allowed 11 million of their citizens to be killed. The answer was simple, is you lie to them. And what I want to say today is, people of America, your government's lying to you. And how do I know? Well, recently there's been some pictures released of damage done by the Patriots up on the Mount Hero Reserve. and the millions and millions of dollars, I think somewhere around $6 million worth of damage that they say was caused there. And I'm here to tell you it's not true. Many of their pictures, if you'll just do your own research, will show maybe some clutter that could have been caused anywhere, very little damage. Some of the pictures they've even put up are pictures that were taken by the Patriots themselves while they were there, showing the disarray that the place was in before they came there. They're blaming it on the people that were there. I cannot speak to what happened following the death of my brother and the rest of the Bundy brothers and the other individuals that were up there. Who knows what happened after that? They weren't there to take care of the place anymore. But I can tell you what the place looked like when I went up there. I had the opportunity to go up there in early January. I was a little concerned about what was going on up there. I heard reports in the media, and I wanted to know what the heck my brother was up to. But I'm here to tell you, when I got there, what I learned was not what I was being told, not even close. These people were respectful people. They were sincere. They were speaking up in defense of their fellow citizens of Harney County. They were peaceful, but they were resolved about getting their message out. But one thing that is absolutely certain, they were very serious about taking good care of that property. Had the opportunity to sit in on meetings with the leadership there where they talked about maintenance items and things that needed to be done. They knew that while they were there, the place had to be cared for.
I have some pictures of the reserve refuge up there. I kind of like this very first one because it says your public lands. Who do these lands belong to? It belongs to us, all of us. Even LaVoy and Ryan and Ammon. So.
Well, this sucks. I can't even hear this. Can anybody else hear this? I'm going to skip on, and there's the link. You can go crank up your volume and go right on into that. It's on the voice channel.
Health and water, and everybody knows I'm going to talk about this anyway, so let's just get on with it. And that's the fact.
To When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast, brought to you by www.leadingedgeradionetwork.com. I am your host tonight, Lisa Haven, and I have with me a special guest and friend, and that is Ronnie McMullen. He is the head honcho and CEO of Life Change Tea. That's www.getthetea.com. Ronnie, are you there?
I am. How you doing, Lisa?
Good. How are you?
I'm peachy.
I like that word, peachy. But I'm excited to have you on again. I know I bring you on once a month, and you kind of give us, more details on what's happening in the world, what's happening globally, what's happening medically speaking. And so I like to bring you on to keep our viewers up to date and healthy. But on our topic today, we're actually going to discuss some things that are going on with the economy, which, in my opinion, I even believe we're in the very beginnings of, a crash and a crisis. Obviously, they've just been putting a Band-Aid on it for some time, and it's not a matter of when it's going to happen. I mean, if it's going to happen, but when. Do you agree with that, Ronnie?
Absolutely. This has been going on way even before 2008. 2008 was the fall. And they put a big fat Band-Aid on it, and they said, okay, we've got the whole system overhauled. It's all good. But it was really a fraudulent system in 2008, and it's more of a fraudulent system today. We can see the political race that's going on for our so-called president, which is a joke, and another fraudulent system. So the banksters and the mobsters are all kind of one right now. And so we'll talk about that because there's a lot of things going on. And people are very interested in their money, and they need to be very interested in their health. And those two kind of go together because the mobsters and the banksters figured out how to make big money using pharmaceutical companies and making people sick. They don't really want you dead. They just want you sick so they can just take all your money. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's the idea behind big pharma. That's who these people are. They want to keep you sick, so you have to keep buying the products. And that's the problem with a lot of the drugs you can get, or the prescription drugs that you get from doctors. Not that, doctors are bad, because they're good. They do good things. But the drugs that are being pushed are drugs that don't fix the problem. They either mask the problem, or it's something that you have to take forever, amen, to fix this quote problem. And that's why I like what you offer, and the natural side offers, because it is a fix to a problem. It's not something you have to do forever, amen.
Well, and it's interesting too, because we're seeing the fact that the body knows how to heal itself. So when you take natural products, it doesn't matter if it's mine or anywhere else, but if you take good products that are GMO free, and you take these products, your body, you don't need them forever, and it's something that you can heal. And what happens is the pharmaceutical companies have gotten away from, it used to be they would use plant-based stuff, and they would get stuff to where, again, your body would heal. But they've gotten away from that because they like the residual income of taking pharmaceuticals to where it's like, and you can even apply this, go to your doctor, and whatever medicine you're taking, just say, by the way, I just was curious, how long do I have to take this medicine before I'm healed or cured? And they'll turn white. They don't like those two words. FDA really works on those two words too. Healed and cured is much like the F word. It's just, don't even talk about this, So it's something that, we really need to understand. And we need to really understand that, again, this is all hooked to other things. This is a bigger puzzle piece than we probably even know. And before, I think when we find out, it'll be the too late thing. So we really need to get interested in our health and in a serious way. And that's not just taking supplements, but that's exercise, and that's diet, huge things. Because if you don't, you're going to be in some big trouble, and then they'll have you, because right now the system is so flawed and so fraudulent that when you go in to have a minor surgery, it could cost you $30,000 for a minor surgery. So
absolutely,
and of course the Obamacare is not what anybody thought it was going to be. Oh, it's going to be like free care. It's hardly that. So there's a lot of stuff, and we, like I said, we can talk about this.
Yeah, and here's the thing: that's something to think about. When the economy crashes, there's going to be all kinds of health needs and all kinds of things that people maybe haven't thought about. Now, in response to that, I guess, where do you see the economy going, and how bad what do you see happening, I guess, economically speaking?
I think economically speaking, we're going to see, I believe we have a crash coming. And now there's a lot of Patriot channels that are pushing a crash, that it's going to be, really down to nothing, and concentration camps, and a lot of fear stuff. And I don't think that. But I do think we're going to go down to the 3,000 to 5,000 mark on Wall Street. Wall Street is much like Vegas. So if you ever notice, though, they have all these guys that tell you this is what you should invest in. This is really a good, think about it. If they're on CNN telling you that you need to invest in this stock, how many millions of people are watching the same thing? So all they're doing is driving up that stock, and it's all manipulated. And you just get to be a part of it. So you need to do your due diligence if you're going to play the stock market, which I think is a very risky game. If you're going to do that, you need to be very, very well educated, and you need to do your due diligence to know what's going on. Now, we're going to go back in time just a little bit. If we go back in time, and there's really a movie that just came out, just was released not too long ago, that really sums up a great idea for a lot of you that maybe you're not educated in Wall Street, and you don't really kind of know what's going on, and you go, it doesn't really interest me, but it needs to interest you, because what goes on Wall Street is going to affect the economy. So you kind of need to get educated at least a little bit so you know what's going on. And the best way to do it is, obviously, we're visual people, is to watch the movie. It's called The Big Short. And it has people like Christian Bale that are in it. It has Steve Carell in it, Brad Pitt. It's a very good movie. It's a little racy, so I'd be careful with your kids, having your kids around. but it is, there's a reason that I think they put the racy stuff in there, was to prove a point with who is running our world. And so all of this to say is this housing bubble that went on in 2007, 2008, when everybody was having 2 and 3 houses and they, greed was just abundant. We watched a huge fall. And we had somebody that was really, I think, a very interesting man. And his name was Dr. Michael Burry, okay? And Dr. Michael Burry was the one that saw this coming. He was one of the originators that watched this huge fall, and he knew ahead of time that it was coming. And what he did is he invented a short based on the subprime market of the housing bubble that was going on in 2007, 2008. Now, what he did is he went to the banks and he said, I want to buy a short, and this is what I want to bet against. And they all laughed at him. They said, what are you talking about? Mortgage loans are a huge, security. I mean, there's no risk in it. It's just a wonderful thing. But what they were built with was subprime loans, which is basically crap, and bad loans that were going bad. And he looked up and went into the database and saw that people were 60, 90, 120 days late. And he knew this was on its way to where people weren't going to make their payments. And he watched a lot of the loans that were on a variable rate, they were going to change. And as soon as they change, nobody's going to make these payments. And he saw this coming. So he went out and he bought millions and millions. In fact, I think he bought $1 billion worth of these shorts. And the banks laughed at him and said, no problem. Well, there was a few other guys that did the same thing. And when they went out and they got all these shorts and they bought all these shorts, everything started shifting. And when it started shifting, the banks immediately wanted to buy the shorts back. Okay, and they were going to pay a profit, but it was a 2 to 3, times profit. But what the interesting thing was this was set to profit them 25, maybe 25 to 1, 50 to 1, because of how bad it was going to go. And obviously, Dr. Michael Burry was one of the profiters that did this, and he kind of closed his firm out after this all happened. And of course, the government was researching him. How did he know ahead of time? And all because he did his due diligence. So it's something to really pay attention to and watch the movie so you can get educated. Here's why you need to be educated. Because they never fixed the system. They think they fixed the system. They said they fixed the system. But the big banks got bigger and the little banks went, awry. And what we have now is big banks and big mobsters, and we're going to see the same thing happen again. A little different, but we're going to see the same thing happen again. And when we see this happen, you're going to see the real estate market that you think is now strong, that we're okay, you're going to see it fall once again, possibly stronger than it did in 2008. Go ahead.
And that's a scary thought. We're going to take a break real quick, Ronnie, and then we're going to have you come back on that same thought. So here's our sponsor from getthetea.com.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy? Tired of feeling lousy? Or
finalwarning.com.
Change Tea, the commercial that you
just by drinking.
I'm not an economist by any means, but I can tell you the writing is on the wall for something very, very negative to happen. If you go to any of the Patriot channels, you're going to see so many of the commercials, finalwarning.com, die or, getready.com, all these weird, warnings where these super economists are trying to sell you a book or to sell you a system so that you can protect yourself in a fall. The gold companies have been busy for a very long time, and they're talking about, buy gold, buy silver. Well, and some of this I agree with. But again, when we move to an extreme, when our pendulum swings too far over one side or the other, we can do this in so many different issues. If we do this, and this is where somebody's really sick and then they'll all immediately want to take 950 supplements, wrong, okay? We gotta be balanced in our life. So if we see this happening, we need to kind of slowly say, okay, what if Ronnie's right? What if, and I've heard this, I'm not telling anything new here. This is not like the first news you've ever heard. This is just, another warning, you might say. It's coming. It's just a matter of when, not if. It's a matter of when. And you have to think about, okay, in 2008, we saw some bad things, a lot of people without jobs, money was an issue, but we didn't see any really super over the top stuff. Right. So if this one was going to be worse, we'd see some over the top stuff.
Now I know there were some areas in the 2007, 2008 that were more affected than others. Phoenix was pretty bad. And we actually lived down there during that time. And I will say this, we felt it because all the houses on our street, because we lived in a newer housing development at the time, and it was all empty. I mean, we had no neighbors, and it was chilling. And then if you want to move out and your house is upside down, you couldn't do that. And so I have friends who are still recouping from that. I mean, their house is almost back up to where it was in 2008. So, say I have a friend, they bought their house for $320, it's worth $300 right now. So they're still kind of upside down. But the problem is, it's also a scary thought to me to see it going back up to where it was, in 2007, 2006, all before this stuff came crashing down, So it terrifies me almost. Is this coming again because all the real estate is back up? And I'm curious as to the direction the government's going to take it,
Well, and I noticed there's a lot, and I don't know a lot of background on this, but there's a lot of companies that are saying you need to get this Obama loan, and so that the government basically holds your note on housing. And boy, I tell you, that's a flag for me. Anytime the government's involved,
right.
They're involved in GM, they're involved in real estate, they're involved in, medical. I do not want the government as my mommy and daddy.
No.
I can just tell you right now. And I'm not anti-government. I am not.
Right.
But there was an incredible scene, and I don't want to destroy it for you, but there's an incredible scene in the movie when Dr. Michael Burry is watching the numbers, and he's not making the money that he thought he was going to make. And so he had people that were very angry at him because they're wanting his money, and they said, keep your money in because this is going to pay like a slot machine. And the long and the short of it was he made a comment that just caught my ear. And he said, and as he was seeing the numbers rise, okay, and we're going to talk about this in another way too, but as he was seeing the numbers rise and he was seeing that the foreclosures were going off the charts and everything was going just the way he said it was going to go, but the short was not paying the numbers like he thought it would pay. And the banks were immediately holding and fraudulently keeping the numbers down so they could buy the shorts back at maybe 2 or 3 to 1. Instead of letting them flow where they normally should be flowing, which would probably pay more like a 25 to 1. It was even to the point where Dr. Michael Burry had talked to the banks and says, now I want to make sure that you guys have money to pay me when this goes a certain way. And they laughed at him again. They said, you're doubting that we can even pay you if this was to happen? And he said, yes. Okay, so they were holding the system down so that they'd only have to pay 2 or 3, and they were trying to buy back all the shorts that they had sold, not only Michael Burry, but other people. And they were trying to buy back the shorts at a lower rate so that because they knew that this was going to go skyrocketing. So one of the things he says in the movie, which, whether he said it or not, but it is a true statement, is he says, we are living in a majorly fraudulent system. And I think it was shocking him that the system that he was working in was so fraudulent, and really basically that the bankers are more like mobsters.
Yeah.
That Wall Street is not something where we're investing in, but it's more like a roulette wheel. And this was bothering him because this was his life. And this is happening to a lot of people that were investing. They really found out how fraudulent the system is and how much the government's involved in it. And this is how we see the ties of Monsanto. We see the ties of all the big companies, all the pharmaceuticals, because there's stocks on the pharmaceuticals. There's stocks on Monsanto. There's stocks on these things, and the government plays with the stock market. And this is why we see, I don't know what it is today, 17 and change, 17.6, something like that. And we're seeing gold and silver, which is, we'll call that the precious metals. We're seeing those precious metals are being pushed down, okay? And many of you have invested in precious metals, and you're saying, what is going on? It should be gold right now should be about $2,000 an ounce. And it's sitting at $1,230, $1,240. So what's going on? We should see silver be, somewhere between $30 to $50 an ounce right now. And we have silver at $15 and change. So what's going on right now? And again, back to a fraudulent system.
And that's
So-
the thing. When we say that they put a Band-Aid on things, they really are. And I think it's hard to, unless you actually play the system, play the stock market, or, like with the short movie, or you actually are investing in that gold and silver and you're keeping tabs on it, you can kind of see it there. Because it is surprising when you think, wow, based off of where we are, this should be a lot higher. And so it's terrifying to think, the government is controlling that. And the longer that they, I guess, continue to put a Band-Aid on what's going on, the bigger the bubble will pop in the long run.
And no one in the political system is really talking about this. We have Trump talking about a wall. We have Cruz talking about how great he is. I mean, we have a lot of interesting things going on. And we have Hillary saying that you just need to vote for a woman, So, I mean...
I ain't voting for that woman, that's for sure.
Well, first of all, she's not a woman. She's a devil. No, I'm just kidding.
she probably... I don't know. I won't comment on it.
I'm joking. But,
no, she is the devil, but I mean, I was going to say something worse. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Well, I honestly think Satan's scared of her.
I know. She's evil. She is evil.
She's something else. But, and let me tell you something else for those that are even, they might be mad at me talking about Hillary like that. But I just...
Oh, no, it's all good. My listeners, they don't like Hillary.
Hillary actually was the start of Obamacare. Hillary was the start of Obamacare. And we think it's Obamacare. It's really was Clinton care, and it's really establishment care. It is not anything that one of these, they just put their president name on it. It means nothing. So this is really the start. This is why Hillary is really scary. So we have all of these politicians, and none of them's really talking about a fall in the economy. None of them's talking about geoengineering. Nobody's talking about healthcare and Monsanto. There was, Trump said a little bit about Monsanto, but he's not saying a whole lot. And he's the only one that's talking about healthcare a little teeny itsy bit. The rest of them are like, Hillary's really clear about her healthcare. We're going to keep it going. We're going to rock. This is going to be good. Everything. We're going to overhaul. We're going to overhaul what we just overhauled not too long ago. So that, if we keep overhauling things, it kind of tells you it's not running right.
Right. And she backs Monsanto. It's ridiculous.
Monsanto. Well, Monsanto is, giving her big fat money gifts.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all part of the plan.
And she's all mouthy. She says, "Oh, I don't accept big money," but yet she's the highest recipient of exactly what she claims not to be of, and it's disturbing.
Yes.
Now, Ronnie, we're going to take a real quick break from a commercial from you, from Life Change Tea, and then we'll be right back to finish our conversation.
Hey folks, Life Change Tea here, reminding you that colds and flus suck. Feeling lousy sucks, and allergies really can be annoying. What if you could change that? What if you could drink something that changed the sick and tired scenario? Well, you can change how you feel with a little help from Life Change Tea. Life Change Tea is a drink you make, you control, and you drink. There are 8 organic herbs that blend together and give you what you need to fight the flus and colds of this world. Less sickness is more relief. Life Change Tea can help with high blood pressure, constipation, high cholesterol, and much, much more. Just by drinking the tea. Read the numerous testimonies at getthetea.com. If you're tired of feeling lousy, order right now at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. If you've heard this commercial more than once and someone's trying to tell you something, it's time to get well. Getthetea.com.
Welcome back to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast. I am your host, Lisa Haven, and I have with me again Ronnie McMullen, the CEO of Life Change Tea. So Ronnie, before the break, we were talking about Hillary, Shillery, Killery. She's got a million names. And how she's in league with Monsanto and just everything that's going on with the economy. Now let's get back to the economy because I want to get your take. I know that we kind of talked about, what happened in 2007 and 2008. What do you see happening economically speaking? When the economy crashes, what will that look like? Are we looking at like Great Depression kind of stuff, just in your personal opinion? Or are we looking at, another 2007 or 2008? What do you see?
I see it being worse than 2007, 2008. I see it being very...
You know what? Go up to Lisa Haven's channel. I don't have enough listeners to even bother doing this shit. So anyway, peace out. Y'all have a good night. Go up to Lisa Haven's channel. It's right there. Lisa Haven. Go find her. Really good video. Go finish it from there. Man, I gotta say, nobody cares anymore. Nobody's paying any attention. I honestly see zero reason to bother with this anymore. So when something happens and the blood starts flowing, I'll be back. Because apparently that's what everybody's looking for. Good night.